everybody, welcome to
What had happened was the little like 90s sitcom.
I know it's like a different world vibe with yeah.
What happened was Anyway,
Well, welcome to the show.
Hey,
It is called What Had Happened Was. I am Karyn Bryant.
I'm Angela Overkill Hill.
That's right, folks. So we are here to talk some MMA. We both of us have been in the business for quite some time, and in fact, Angela just won her fight mere hours ago. You would never know by looking at her because you look flawless. Angie, there's so much I want to get to, and obviously. I want you to just take the floor, but I think one thing I want to say before we go into this is that you and I are both good friends with Ashley Yoder. Both of us like her so much. And us celebrating your victory, I hope people understand that that does nothing to diminish Ashley, who is just a wonderful, wonderful girl. The fight just didn't go her way this time. So I don't want it to sound like we're bashing her, but we're loving her.
Yeah, it's always hard to to fight someone that you've had like run-ins with and you think is really a nice person or a good person, like deep down inside. Like some people just emanate that, and she emanates that good person vibe. So it definitely it definitely makes you think twice when you're like, yeah, I wanna say I'm gonna fuck this bitch up, but like she's so nice. It's like I'm gonna fuck this really cool girl up.
I know.
And it's such a twisted thing in your head to think like I'm gonna fuck up this person who's a really great person. Like who could do that? You really have to turn that human button off when you're going in there to handle business. But yeah, I could never see fighting a teammate. Like I think people who do that like you can see it, right? Like you can see it like with Usman and Gilbert, yeah, you could see that there was like hurt in there, like there was emotion in there when the final punch was landed and he was out. Like there was emotion with that loss, there was emotion with the win. Like everyone was going through some kind of roller coaster in their head, and yeah, man, I couldn't do that.
It's tough watching people fight their teammates. And as we mentioned, folks, I feel like we should call this a victory lap or something. I don't know so on the ceremonial weigh-in that you do with your husband, I don't know what you call it after a win. On the MMA Heat podcast I did with Alan, after his fights, we would call it a champagne podcast. But this is different. I didn't know if we wanted to call it a victory lap or if you had something you wanted to call it. But we do invite folks to have a celebratory beverage with Angie for her victory.
We could call it the bitch fucking drinking session.
There you go. A BFDS.
BFDS.
BFDS on the What Had Happened show.
Yeah.
You're right, though.
Adding acronyms.
That's all we do is acronyms. We're in the acronym business.
Yeah.
But you're right, though. We do need more hand emojis for one.
We do, right? Because like the like I'm taking a photo one. That's
right.
Like perfect, right?
I don't know if I'm getting my H right.
Yeah, there's nothing for the had. Right. Maybe there's like the one that's like this. Yeah. What had happened was I don't know.
Well, okay, so listen, obviously this is a show for both of us, but since I'm usually the interviewer and you are usually the interview subject, we will do this for a couple minutes like a post-fight interview. Okay. So it looked like you were very much in command during all three rounds, even though in the third round maybe you got a little ahead of yourself and slipped a little, and Ashley was able to get you on the canvas, which would have been her best route to victory. So how nervous were you in that third round going, man, I've already won a couple of rounds, and shoot, now I'm in like a bad spot, and this is where Ashley's best opportunity is?
Well, I didn't feel in danger at all, like I felt like I was ready for any submission attack she might throw at me, so I didn't rush. I felt in control still, and if anything, I just didn't want her to drag the clock out on top of me. Like that always looks bad. I didn't want to give her any rounds because I never know what's going on, with the judges, what they're thinking. I was pretty sure that they didn't see those first two rounds close, but you never know. So, and I know there were a couple of decisions that a lot of people disagreed with on our card. I'm glad I wasn't paying attention because
you would have gotten nervous because, you found a few split decisions that were a little questionable.
Yeah. Yeah, so it would have freaked me out if I had seen like one of those fights like go to a weird decision. I'd just be like, "Fuck, it's gonna happen again! Like I gotta knock her out," you know. But yeah, I tried. I tried to knock her out. She's real tough, like super tough. Like I feel like if I had fought Gadelia or Watterson the way I fought Ashley, like I would have finished them for sure. But Ashley's just durable, man. She's like a real tough cookie. So yeah, it was a good fight. And in that moment, I was a little nervous, but once I started moving her weight around and I started to get up, and then once I got up and hit her again, I was like, "Ooh, she's still hurt from those knees that I almost put her out with." So I was confident I could still like win the round, and I didn't have to worry about the scorecards if I wasn't able to knock her out in that last like minute I had to just like throw everything I had at her. So yeah, I was happy about being able to scramble back up real quick.
Nice, and you have Wilson Hayes in your corner. I'm sure Wilson was happy.
Yeah, he's like, "Get up, Angie. Get up." I'm like, okay.
I'm trying.
Tell me how.
Well,
no, he's a great corner man. He's a great corner man. I love having him there.
Yeah, he is great. And you mentioned the knees and to the body work, or maybe you didn't mention it. Maybe I just heard it because that's what I was going to ask you about. But that is something that we did notice you had a lot of success with. We know that Muay Thai is really where your bread and butter is, but you were very successful with the knees. But it also did just seem that you have been able to put a little bit more power on. I know a couple of years ago you and I talked, maybe it was after Andrade, where you just felt that you had been getting out-muscled by some of the girls in your division and that you were conscious of it, right? So how different do you feel now? Like how much more strength do you feel? How much more pop do you feel on your punches?
I think it's just been being able to settle my feet and hit hard, like when I'm still trying to be a moving target. And I think a lot of times it's hard to do both. It's hard to have good movement, but also like sit down on your punches. They're like two opposite kind of theories. Right. So I think the longer I've been doing MMA, I've been able to figure out how to blend all that together a little better. So I'm not so worried about, I'm not so moving so much because I'm so worried about the takedown. Like I'm okay with taking risk and planting my feet and, like making it obvious, like, okay, I'm about to throw a punch, but I know when those openings are there a little better. And it just comes with experience. It just comes with like practicing, doing it in the cage and just getting that, what do you call it? Getting that ring. Something.
Just the experience, the time in the octagon there. Right.
The ring minutes or whatever you call it.
Right, exactly. The octagon experience. It does, right.
Octagon experience. Well,
and yeah, exactly. And you said something right there about taking risks, and that was something that we did kind of notice in the third round that, you could sort of tell, like, okay, you knew you had it banked. And yes, granted, we never really know what the judges are thinking, but like, it was pretty darn clear that you had won those rounds. So I did think, maybe you are taking some risks in the third round. So how sort of free did you feel in there? Because obviously, there's so much that fighters are thinking about, but you always hear fighters talk about that sweet moment when you're just going on feeling and vibe and you're not thinking about every move. So how did you feel in there?
I felt pretty good. I'd say I was maybe like 80% free.
Yeah, good.
I wasn't quite at 100% freedom because I was still worried about the hip throws, but I had been practicing like for so long defending the hip throw with my own throw. And I kind of did it in the first round, but it was more of like a pull over my knee. But like, when you expose that hip, it's real easy to like pop them up when they do it lazily. And I'm like, there were like maybe 4 different moments where I'm like, I can do it now. And then I'm like, but what if it doesn't work? And then I did it, and I'm like, no, this is what we've been working on. You gotta do it. You gotta follow your instinct.
Yeah.
So that was the only reason that I felt like I was at about 80%.
Gotcha.
But with the striking, I felt like 100% open and free and just seeing everything and hitting and listening to the corner, throwing the combos as soon as they say it and then watching it land and work. Like that's probably the best feeling when it comes to like you and your corner vibing is when they call for something, you do it immediately and it fucking lands. Like you're just like, you want to look back and be like,
Right. Well, it does feel. Well, that's what I'm saying. We joke about it, but all the fights in Apex, it almost is like a Twitch stream where it's like the coaches are sitting there with the controls because because you can hear everything and you guys are right there, and they're like 1, 2, 3, whatever, and pow pow pow. Next thing you know, you actually did it, and like you said, it worked, and it is. It's a lot like a video game. It's really cool. We are very. We were kind of big up in you. I was working with Dean Thomas, who people know is a former fighter and a coach. And it's funny because Dean and I didn't even notice, like I before we were working together, I've known Dean for years. I didn't even realize, so I was looking up some research on him and I was like, oh yeah, Dean, he was gonna fight Ricardo Mayorga. I actually worked that fight. I was like, holy crap, I think I have the notes from the fighter meeting. And it was like right before I was leaving for the airport. I was like, shoot, I can't find them, but I literally have this one notebook. That's another story for another day. But I was like, I think I have the notes from my fighter meeting with Dean, but I can't believe it's Dean that was gonna fight Ricardo Mayorga. Like, I remember the whole thing. So anyway, when I saw him, we were reliving that and laughing about that. But
Aww.
yeah, he is so proud of you. And Mike, Kiesa, we were talking after the fact on the desk, and we were like, okay, what should be next for you? And Mike Mav thought Joanna was a good choice for you. So I don't know what I know. I'm pretty sure a couple weeks ago, didn't Lemos call you out? I believe after her victory.
Did she?
I think she called you out, but I am curious. Who's on your mind? Because, between the Tishas and I don't know if you knew this, Angie, but now for the most wins in the strawweight division, you're tied for second most. JJ has the most. Joanna has 10. But you, Carla, and Tisha have 8 wins each in the strawweight division. So the three of you are tied for second most. So you're tied with a former champ and a woman that you're looking for that rematch, I know. Yeah. But, who do you want next? That's a long way of me asking you who you want next.
Well, there's so many can get it, like seriously. But like of course I'd love rematches with one of my last 2 girls, Michelle or Gedalia, or or Tisha, since we were already booked to fight. I think that fight should have happened, and I think she's gonna continue to duck it, so I'm not gonna press on it anymore. But she doesn't really have an excuse at this point, and I just feel like, it was kind of cool being denied that fight, but then getting the chance to give someone else the opportunity that she was denying, like being able to give Yoder a rematch and give her a chance to get back that loss. I feel like it was kind of cool that I was able to do that and show like, hey man, like I'm not afraid to do it. You shouldn't be either, because like that fight also made it very obvious how much better I've gotten in the last few years. And that was like 4 years ago. Me and Tisha fought like 6 years ago. So that's my reasoning for the Tisha fight. But I would love any of those girls. Lemos would be a fun one. I definitely think I could take her, and it'd be a fun striking matchup. And who else? I probably can't fight her right now because I'm not ranked high enough. But Marina Rodriguez, I thought that was
well. That's what I was going to say. Maybe I should take a quick look at the straw rankings, because I think you were number 12 coming into it.
Yeah.
And then, but like the cool thing is there are so many great matchups for you, and hopefully, I'm a fan still. Obviously, I work with the UFC and I work for the UFC, but like I'm a fan too, and I'm like, don't give Angie a wrestler. You know what I mean? I want to see you with a striker, and I'm trying to think like, which girls are I mean, obviously, Mackenzie, is the real threat on the canvas. But wait, she's at 25 now, though, right?
No, she's still at 15.
Oh, she's still at 15. That's right.
Yeah, the baby ate her missing weight.
That's right. No, she's making weight a lot easier. That's right.
Yeah.
No, but so Mackenzie is obviously the biggest threat on the canvas for the strawweights, but
and Suarez, when she comes back too, Tatiana Suarez.
Tatiana's amazing. And it's funny because I was thinking about that, and it's been such a shame that Tatiana's been out. I know she's had neck injuries and stuff, and because she really is unbelievable. So Rose and Zhang Weili, we know, are going to be fighting. So Joanna is ranked number 2 right now. Yan Xiaonan is ranked number 3. Carla's 4. Then Nina. So Nina's fighting at the pay-per-view, right? 2 weeks or whatever. But yeah, Marina Rodriguez, she's number 6. That is a good call out for you.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Because then Claudia's number 7, right? Michelle's number 8. Tisha's number 9.
Yeah.
Hebos is 10. So it goes Hebos, Darren, and then you. Right. Those are all fun fights, baby. I like all
Jump
those.
right over those hoes. Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be fun. I'm down.
Well, you looked fantastic. And I know, it's one thing too. Was it Julia Avila had tweeted it, and I was like, a little louder for the people in the back. The fact that you and Ashley both made weight 2 times in 2 weeks, and like, just really, really brava, and proud of you guys, because yeah, you are both true professionals.
Yeah, dude, that was it. I wasn't happy about having to make weight again, but I thought it was cool that she decided right away, like, yeah, let's rebook. And because I know she has a harder weight cut than I do,
right?
So, and she was just like, yeah, let's rebook again. I want to fucking fight. And I was like, that's badass. So that was really cool. Both showed up, both made weight like professionals. Some people have 8 weeks and they can't do that, but we were able to do it in 1 and then 2. So
that's right.
So props to her, man. Props to her for being a professional. And yeah, happy I finally got a dance partner. I've been itching. I've been getting that cage itch, man. Like I don't like getting rusty. I like getting in there as often as possible. So
right. So how quickly would you like to fight again?
I mean, I didn't get hurt in the fight, so I could fight again whenever. I'm just gonna stay on my sprints because I felt like it was kind of good that we didn't fight after a week, because I didn't get to like get too much cardio in. I was actually nursing like a little knee injury, so when they called me, I hadn't been to training in a few days, but of course I'm like, yes, I'm gonna fight. Yes, I'm fighting. So I was a little nervous about that going into the fight, but I didn't care. I was like, fine, I can fake it. I can fake it. I can like take my time, like preserve my energy or whatever. So when I had that week to go back home and get my cardio on and everything, get a couple sparring rounds and came back, like my energy was like 10 times better than it was like 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So I felt really good about that, being able to why did I start talking about that?
But it is amazing that you both made the weight twice.
Yes, that's why. Yeah.
But you did see, and maybe that is something I did see in the fight, and like you just mentioned, Ashley does have more to cut, because I'm 5'8", Ashley's I think 5'7". And I know for me, like, if I had to try to cut to 115, I'd be a very mean woman. And so the fact that, Ashley is only an inch shorter than me and cuts all the way down to that, that is tough. And that is one thing that I did notice in the fight, that it did seem that, her fatigue level was a little bit higher. And I don't know if her fatigue was higher because you had a very high output and you were putting it on her, or if it was a weight cut thing, twice in 2 weeks type of thing, what it was. But it did seem that you had the endurance edge on her in the fight.
Yeah, well, we were going heavy on the body shots, and it was mostly because like with someone who's just going to be relentless with the takedowns, you like if you hit them in the body, like when they're level changing, it kind of stops them from being able to get underneath you, because I'm switching, I'm level changing, I'm throwing like a straight punch, and it either hits them in the chest or in the face as they level change, or it just like kind of pushes them back. So it's a good way to like keep them away from being able to go underneath your arms and get to the body lock position or get to your legs or anything like that. So we were just heavy on the body shots, and it just happened that they were really hurting her too. So I don't know if anyone's never been hit in the stomach, but like it takes the wind out of you. It makes you like, it just like slows your engines down. Yeah. So it's hard to push past it. Like I feel like it's easier to push past like a mild concussion than a really bad body shot. Like you can just be too dumb to pay attention to the fact that you're getting hit in the head, but a body shot, like, it doesn't let you decide. Like it just shuts your body down.
See, and here I am, Angie, granted, never been in a fight, never even been like the closest I came to a fight was when I used to play soccer and I was a keeper. They let the goalkeeper do whatever you want, right? So you could like roll a bitch and they don't care, because like I used to be sweeper and fullback and stuff, but I was keeper for a while too. And so the closest I came to a fight was just being keeper and just rolling bitches, but which was really fun. But I'm not sure what my point is on this. But my point on this just is, that, yeah, in this fight with Ashley, you could tell too that she was getting a little frustrated by you. I remember now what my point was. Is that I believe I could take a body shot. Like, I'm the opposite. I think, I feel like I'm solid in the middle, right? So I feel like I could take a body shot. I feel like headshots would throw me off more. But you could definitely see that, yeah, all the knees you were going through the middle and the body shots, like, you could tell that that's really what was, like you said, giving Ashley, like, pause. And every time she would come in, yeah, you would stick her with a knee, and it was taking the wind out of her. And you could see that every time she kind of had to, like, she was a little frustrated and sort of had to reset more and kind of take deeper breaths where you kept kind of taking that away from her.
Yeah, it's like that liver shot, right? Like, it's not really a choice when you hit the liver. What side is it on? It's this. It's
side. Over here. It's on your right, on your right side, right? Your own right side.
Anytime someone is good at throwing left kicks, like, you gotta watch out for the liver shot. Yeah. So, like, it's on your right side. And, like, a lot of my knees were going there. And then, like, once it gets hit once, like, you don't necessarily have to hit the same spot for it to just, like, ricochet through your body and, like, take the energy out of you, like, more and more. So it's not always just, like, a wind thing and just, like, disrupting your breathing. But a lot of times you're hitting that organ and the organ goes crazy, and then it just, like, makes your body go into shutdown mode. So it's kind of like when you see a spider go, you know, like, that's what your body wants to do. It just wants to curl up into fetal position and protect your organs. Right. So it's like this really weird thing that I never knew happened until I started sparring for the first time. And, like, the first time I got hit with a liver shot, it was my first Muay Thai coach's wife. And I was like, oh, that was a hard kick. And then I was like, oh no, what's happening? I'm gonna like, what am I doing? Why can't I move? So it's weird. It's like that famous Overeem knockout of wrestler big
Lesnar.
Yeah, Brock Lesnar. Yes.
I was there. It was amazing.
Yeah, but it was that delay where people were like, keep faking it. And it's like, no. You've never been hit with a liver shot, maybe that's what it looks like, but it's literally like, you're like, that was hard. Oh,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like the 1 1,000, 2 1,000, and then they crash. Yeah, and I've never been hit with one, but obviously that's like boss root, and that's whatever it's all about the liver shot, and you see that, and that's one of those things because I haven't ever been hit with one, but that is one that I ask the guys about at the desk all the time because I'm like, what is it? And they're like, no, like you said, you don't know, and you're hit, and you're like, oh, I'm good, and then you're like, I'm gonna effing barf and die right now.
Yeah, if I don't sit down, then my world's gonna end.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, give me the. Let me pretend I could take a body shot, Ange. Okay. Let me pretend. But also, when we're talking about you and Ashley, we're also talking about two very lean women. You know what I mean? You guys have like nothing there, and so a lot of time when we're talking body shots, and you see them with the heavyweights or the 205ers, like those guys have a lot. Even though obviously you all make weight, but I'm just saying that it's such a you guys have so little body fat on you and so little protection that those shots to the midsection really did pay dividends.
Yeah, they go right to your organs.
Yeah. Well, we're excited for you on the victory lap here. So everybody, cheers to Angie Overkill. That was awesome. I'm very proud of you. You were awesome.
Thanks, Karen.
And I know you've been itching to fight, and it's been great. So it's just, it's really cool. So I do need to ask you though, Angie, and I know obviously your evening was up and down, and you're doing post-fight interviews and talking to media. I mean, probably Beyonce probably called you to congratulate you.
Oh yeah, I mean, she did on the special presidential phone. President B,
what up, Faye? But I don't know how much of the other stuff that you saw. But Leon Edwards, we know in the main event, his fight with Belal ended as a no contest. It was in the second round. There was an eye poke. Leon had been warned by Herb, but unfortunately there was an eye poke. Belal was unable to continue. It really broke my heart for a lot of reasons. But want to get your take on it, and just I don't even know where to start because there's just a lot to unpack with that. But just what's your take on what happened there?
Well, you know what? First, I want to give props to Mike Beltran. He was my ref, and I don't know if it was his first time doing Nevada or whatever, but the last time he ref for me, dude with the long mustache was in Invicta.
Yeah.
And his like pre-fight just kind of rundown of the rules was so good. Like I honestly feel like if he had reffed those other 2 fights, like those fouls, the DQs wouldn't have happened.
And I'm just going to hit pause for a second. People should know that you do have a meeting with the referees before you fight. And they talk to you guys about, this is what's illegal, this is what's legal, this is what I'm going to say, work more, right? They kind of talk you through how they're going to ref.
Yeah, for sure. Which is why Dominic was so upset with Keith Peterson, because in that meeting that they had before he refed, Dom made it clear, like, hey, if I look like I'm in trouble, give me time to work and get up to my feet. And it's almost like a kind of a negotiation moment, you know, like you get to know the ref gets to know you, and you kind of you try to come to an understanding. Okay, what does this ref need to see in order to not stop the fight? You know, like that's what the whole point of it is, because nobody wants hard feelings, but he also is there to protect you. So yeah, we had this rules meeting, and he's explaining like that this is bad, you know, like fighting with your hands out, fingers out is like, he's going to warn you about that. Right. And I'm like, that's cool, because a lot of refs, they take a really long time to warn people when their fingers are out like that. So he makes it very clear in the back room, like, I'm going to be bugging you about that. So know that.
And he tells you to do the hands up and not out, right?
And he's like, you can do the hands up, but, you know, just know that if you do the hands up and then the fingers come down, I'm going to warn you. So this is like the best option. Like you're the fighter, you can do what you want, but just know that I'm looking for like not fingers forward, and I'm going to warn you if your fingers are forward. And I was like, cool, that's awesome, because I hate fucking getting poked in the eye.
Yeah. You know? Yeah, I would imagine.
And the second thing, he went through a long explanation of grounded opponent. And then we did all the mimes, like we did all the, like, so this is this a grounded opponent, you know, like.
Well, because people do play with it, obviously, with a hand down and the knee, like people play. Mm-hmm. Right.
And I thought it was really good, because there was a moment where I almost thought,
you almost threw a knee and we were like, no!
There was a moment, I think it was in the first round, where she went to the ground, and I thought, here's the perfect time for a knee to the face. And then I was just like, oh shit, she's on the ground. Right. Like, it's really easy to just have that lapse in judgment. And especially when you're in motion, like I think she was like falling to the ground, and I was like, okay, this is the perfect time, right when I get a good beat on her. And then it's like, it just happens to be like 2 seconds after she's on the ground on her knees. So yeah, it's really easy to make that mistake. But yeah, going back to Belal and Leon Edwards, like that was horrible that it ended that way. Like it just looked so painful. The gouge, and it was so unintentional, like extremely unintentional. And I don't know, like I do think that it's a shame that he doesn't want the rematch. He doesn't want them to run it back just because it was so soon when the foul happened.
So you're saying Leon
like,
is saying this?
Yeah, and Leon is saying that he doesn't want the rematch. He wants a title shot next. And you know, like it is fair that he gets to get a title shot just because he's been waiting for so long, but it is unfortunate that it ended that way. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like it's going to be a hard case to make, to just get the title shot off of a DQ.
Here's my take. I think I agree with you that, yes, it's incredibly unfortunate for Belal. He's a great guy. I did this whole pre-fight interview. Like, I love Belal since he literally fought Alan. That's the reason I met Belal, right? So folks who know I used to do a podcast with Alan Joban. The first time that Alan was the one who welcomed Belal to the UFC. And so Alan was winning that fight, and he won the first couple rounds, but like I think he broke his hand in that fight or something. So Belal was coming on strong, and we know him. That's what he does, right? He's just pressure. So I remember watching that fight the first time. We didn't know who Belal was. He's fighting my boy, and I'm like, why won't this dude die? Like he just kept. I was like, what is happening? Like what? Like who is this guy? Right? Anyway, they got fight of the night, whatever. So like from right away from Belal getting in the UFC, he's just been on my radar. And I've liked him. I've already respected him so much for fighting my friend in such a great fight. And then you get to know him more, and he has such a great sense of humor. And there's just the more onion layers of Belal that you unpeel, like the better the dude is. Like he's just a wonderful guy. So my heart really went out to him losing the opportunity, right? Because let's be honest, a lot of us probably figured number 3 was probably gonna beat number 13, right? You never do know, but it was a real uphill battle for Belal, but it was his first main event and it was an incredible opportunity, and like stuff happens. Like it would have been amazing if he won.
I know.
Leon looked good, right? And so like halfway through the first round, I looked at Dean, I was like, Leon's looking pretty popping over here. And I was like, he started, you could tell that like Leon was starting to feel himself again, and I thought he looked really, really good in the fight. And so, yes, it ended abruptly. Yes, it ended prematurely. I do think Leon was looking great in that fight. And I actually am okay with Leon getting a title shot off of this. As much as I would love Belal to get this opportunity back or to get more great opportunities like this, I do actually think that we saw enough of Leon in there to know that, like, he didn't lose a step in this time off.
Yeah.
And he's amazing. And also, let's remember, like, okay, so it was 603 days since he last fought, but it's not because he sat there going, no. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's COVID. He was supposed to fight Tyron. That got called off because of everything got called off. Then he's supposed to fight Khamzat Chimaev. They both get COVID. Then Khamzat has, medical issues related to COVID that's still lasting. So it's not because Leon sat there and was acting like a diva that he didn't fight. So the fact is, he came back. He put on a great performance for as long as it did last, and it was a completely unfortunate and unintentional eye poke. But the way he was looking, the fact that he has the number 3 ranking, the fact that he has not lost that ranking through any fault of his own, I'm actually okay with him getting a shot.
Yeah, and it's probably going to be a while before Belal is able to recover and do a camp anyway. So, yeah, I see that too. But a lot of people are asking for the Wonder Boy fight. So what do you think about that? Wonder Boy versus...
I mean, Wonder Boy and Leon is great. Or we talked to Leon because that one cool thing on the post show was Leon was our first guest, like back at the desk, which was really cool because... To be honest with you, it's been like almost a full year since I worked with Dan Hardy down in Brasilia. That was like the last show I did before COVID, and I was supposed to go to London, and that got canceled. And whatever. So the fact that we had Leon on the set, it was like, oh my God, we're almost getting back to normal, and it felt so good to have a fighter on set on a post-fight. But we talked to him about maybe fighting Colby. That could be kind of cool. But
okay.
But it's like I don't necessarily think Leon has to prove himself anymore. But at the same time, as a fan, sure, like Leon versus Wonder Boy or Leon versus Colby, I think would be kind of fun to watch. Yeah. But I do think he's actually earned the shot at Kamaru.
Yeah, and it would suck for a contender to kind of be not exciting anymore. To get if he like fought Wonder Boy and got a loss, and then it's like
Yeah.
You had all that shine on you for like going on this crazy streak and just destroying all these people.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you just want to see it. You just want to see the title shot, right?
Right.
Like, give us something exciting to sit down.
Well, and that's the thing, Angie. It's an 8-fight win streak in the welterweight division, which is insane, right? Because Kamaru was undefeated, right? Kamaru's got the longest streak, but it's insane. And we were joking. We were hitting Mike Mav up a little bit, Mike Chiesa, but Dean and I were calling it the Diva division. Because, and even Leon was kind of like, it kind of is because of the people that you hear say no, right? But we've heard Colby says no to this guy, or Kamaru doesn't want to fight this one, or Jorge doesn't want to do this, or whatever. And so we were calling it the Diva division. Sorry.
That's awesome. It's true. Y'all are worse than the strawweights. And that's saying a lot.
Well, then the last thing I did say to Leon, too, though, I was like, hey, look at... Because Leon is, he's English, but he's Jamaican English. And I was like, look, Aljo just won. He's Jamaican. I'm like, I'm here. I'm like, we got to get UFC Kingston going at some point, which would be amazing.
Oh, my God. I would love to go. We'll
get you Uriah Hall, Randy Brown, Aljo, Leon, me. Like, yeah, you can come. Yeah. Like, it'd be...
I get honorary Caribbean.
Dude, UFC Jamaica or UFC Kingston would be ridiculous.
That would be insane. You need a float that I give it to someone.
We have. Oh, no, I have pictures literally from a year ago, and it's like me and Aljo and Uriah, and we're like, hi, UFC Jamaica, anybody? Hi.
Doing a dance.
Totally. So I hope it happens, but I did. It was weird because when he was on the set, and I was like, "You're so used to having like a winner on the set," and so I was like, "Hey, congratulations!" And then I was like, "Oh wait, yeah, no contest." But I was like, "Hey, just congrats for making it back to the octagon." Because to be honest, as much as you are frustrated by, you know, the COVID thing happening or, you know, whatever, and you're frustrated from a fight that you were supposed to have in December that you had to wait till March, like when we really do back it up and think about what Leon's gone through, that is something that I do think, you know, not only he needs to be applauded, but people in general, like the idea of maintaining your mental health and your optimism and your whatever through all of this, because, you know, it had to be incredibly frustrating for him to know how good he is and not be able to show it. But just in general, for all of you guys, me as well, we all just want to go to work and it's out of your hands.
Yeah, it's crazy. And, you know, I can't even imagine if I had been out that long for reasons outside of my own. Like,
right.
It's just, I can't even imagine, because he's right there. You know, he's been ready for the title shot since the last time he fought. And then it's like, okay, 2 years off now. It's like, what? Like, right when I have this crazy momentum, like, why would you stop me? But it's just like the circumstances that are happening, like different circumstances. And was it an injury at first and then COVID happened?
I think there was a little bit of an injury, right? But then, like, he was scheduled to fight Tyron. I read this whole thing on the air of like February of last year, like March of last year or whatever. He was going to fight too.
And that's when it first started. Everything started shutting down.
Right.
So it's so unfortunate, man. Like I feel so lucky. That's why I don't turn down fights, especially now. I'm just like, yes. They're like, hey, Angela, do you want to fight? Yes.
Yes.
Because you don't know when you're going to be able to fight again, and this is our this is the way we make money. You know, like this is the only way we can make money right now. I mean, you can get creative, but like, it's so much easier to just do the thing that you have put your heart and soul into for the last 10 years, you know? So good for him for finally getting to show up and do his thing, you know? Like, that's such a hard journey, and like the mental, like, just the mental haywireness that goes on in your brain from being out for so long and watching the division go on without you, and then hoping that you're still as good as you were when you left. Like, man, kudos to him. That's so hard to get over. So hard.
It is. And that's one thing, though, that we were saying, too, though, that was kind of cool for him, is that he could have come back and I thought he looked fantastic, but like he could have come back as a totally different guy. And that was one thing we were saying, like, you know, when some people were like, hey, you know, Belal, oh my God, he's biting off way more than he can chew. You know, he's only number 13 and he's fighting number 3. And we were like, dude, this is the ideal time to take Leon Edwards. Like, if you're ever going to fight that far above your ranking, you take the guy that's been out 603 days. Like, are you kidding me? Like, so to me, you know, it was all upside for Belal. It wasn't like he was getting blown out of the water. And yes, like I said, it looked like Leon, to me, was finding his groove halfway through that first round. And yeah, he looked to be really flowing. And I do think he looked to be on track to win that whole fight. But even still, for Belal to get a taste of that main event, for him to walk, you know, second to last on a fight night, for him to feel all that stuff. And as much as it's frustrating to him, you know, he's a man of great faith. And, you know, was talking to him a little bit today, and I'm like just gutted for him. And it sucked to have to go on the air moments after that. Like, this is a dream come true for a friend. And, you know, I've been on the air moments after friends of mine have either won or lost the title, and, you know, it's whatever. But like, all three of us were sitting at the desk, and we all just kind of wanted to puke, because we were like, and it wasn't like we, you know, and when Leon came, we were like, we can celebrate you, Leon, but like all of us were like, but freaking, like, what, you know, like for Belal, like, what, come on, man, like for it to end like that. But then, like I said, he's a man of great faith, and he's able to know that it's all part of the plan for him, so he's able to live with it. But I just felt so bad.
Oh, it just looks so painful. Like, when you're in there, your adrenaline's going. Like, you don't feel something unless it's fucking bad. You know, like, you don't feel something unless it's bad. And like all my little aches and pains that I get when I fight, like, I don't feel it until like maybe 30 minutes later, after my heart rate settled down and everything, and like the adrenaline wears off. I don't have dry mouth anymore. But like, if you feel it in the moment, like you're like, fuck, that must have been really bad, you know? Like,
right.
Oh, I just seeing his reaction and yeah, it turned my stomach as well. I was just like, oh, poor thing, poor thing.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. And that was it. And that was what we were talking about in the air and too. And to me, like the frustration in the octagon, you could see like it was pain and it was sadness and it was frustration. And it was like, how could this happen in my moment? Like there was so many different kinds of pain involved in that moment that it just broke my heart.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Ugh. Stop talking about it.
I know. Like I said, somebody had asked, and we're going to get to some viewer questions in a moment here. But somebody had asked me once about that. They were like, "How do you go on the air? And like, what do you do with your feelings?" And I'm like, "You stuff them down."
Yeah, shove them into a little jar. You turn it, twist it until it clicks 3 times.
Put it over there, and you don't have feelings on television.
Yeah, no feelings.
I don't. It's crazy. Like it's crazy actually. Sometimes how I'm a little sometimes weirded out at how able I am to compartmentalize it. But at the same time, like if you don't have that skill set, it's a very necessary skill set because otherwise I'd be a freaking basket case on the air sometimes.
Woo, my girl did it. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so Ange, we were kind of talking about it here with the eye poke. But earlier on the main card there, like we said, this was it was a card with 2 no contests. Yeah. I just want to clarify something too. When they were reading it, they say no decision, but Mark Ratner, who is our rules guy, was like running around backstage. He's like, "There's no such thing as no decision." He's like, "It's a no contest." So for people who are looking for clarification on it, we on the air called it no contest, and that's how they go. But the other no contest on the fight was between Eryk Anders and Darren Stewart. Eryk's a friend of mine, great dude, former football player, and he went away to a different gym. He went down to train with Eddie Cha and the guys out in Arizona, like get some different looks from his place in Birmingham because he's like, look, I don't have as many bodies to train with. You know, usually he's training with Walt and some other guys. But he's saying, hey, I need some new bodies. And he had said before this fight, he said, hey, you know, in the fight with like Khalil and different stuff, I realized I had a problem with distance management and range. And I guess I thought I had to be right on top of the guy to punch him. And I think I had issues with that. So he felt like he worked on that and changed it. I thought in the fight he was looking really good. He looked obviously very clearly to be on the way to winning that fight. Yeah. Then he threw that illegal knee with Darren. So I don't know how much of that you saw or what your take was on that.
I saw a little bit, and I definitely agree with you with the amount I saw. Like, it looked like Eryk was doing work. Yeah. So it sucks that happened. Like, dude, it's so hard. And from what I heard, because I didn't actually see the knee, but from what I heard, he paused for a second, and then he threw it. Yeah. And it's just like, oh, no. And it was funny because I'll go back to Mike Beltran meeting with me backstage. He was very clear. He said the moment that a lot of people have issue with, like fighters, is when they try to time them going from not grounded to not grounded. And it's literally just like a matter of if your fingertips are there or if you're putting weight on it. If you're putting weight on it, you're grounded. If your fingertips are floating, then you're not grounded. So a lot of times people are looking so hard at the fingertips that they don't think about the fact that their knee
was down.
And that the knee negates everything. It doesn't matter what your hands are doing. If your knee is on the ground, you're grounded. But if you're just focusing on the fingers, you're like, okay, knee them. And you're like, oh shit, their knees on the ground. Like, it's so easy to kind of make that mistake when you try to time it. And Mike Beltran was very clear about that. He's like, if you're going to try to time it, just know, like, you have to be very mindful of what's going on because that's when everyone makes that mistake, is when they try to time it. So either just punch them until they're clearly up or do something else and don't try to, but you're the fighter, you can take your own risk. And I thought that was very good because I totally, like, sometimes I'm not aware that I'm not looking at the knee and I'm looking only at the hands and seeing whether they're weight bearing or not. So it's an easy mistake to make. And when we're in there, a lot of times we don't see the position as clearly as it seems like we should be able to. But at the same time, like, dude, like, that's that's such a bad mistake to make. Like, you should know. Oh, wait, did I lose you?
No, you're there. I see you.
Oh, okay, never mind.
No, it is a bad mistake. And
Such a
like you
bad
said,
mistake.
I think what kind of threw me off is, like you said, there was kind of a little bit of a pause there. And so this is when, and I know I want to get to some of the viewer questions, and a lot of the questions were about that, and about, in that instance, they ruled it incidental and not deliberate, which is sort of funky because everybody's then comparing it to the Jan Sterling knee.
Yeah.
And Jan's looked deliberate. I mean, it looked like he knew he was throwing the knee.
Yeah.
But it didn't, but like you said, the thing about the hands, the knee, like, it didn't look like Eryk threw it with malicious intent. He very clearly knew he was about to throw a knee, but it's like, it's such a weird thing now to parse this language. Also, maybe it wasn't as bad because it seemed like Darren's hand was up, right? And so it kind of hit Darren's hand first before, and it's like Darren's hand hit himself, whereas Jan's really landed flush, right to Aljo. Look, it sucked, and it's unfortunate, and you could tell right away Eryk was like, oh no, what have I done? But like...
Yeah. These knees.
You can't. So I guess my point, my question really is: would you prefer knees to just be legal? Because that is something that a lot of people have asked, and I personally don't, because I do still think they're too dangerous. But maybe you would want them because of the second guessing of when you can throw it. Maybe it's just better for you to just be able to do it.
I think I think it would be good to allow it. But
I don't want to see you get kneed in the head.
I'm not going to get kneed in the head, Come on, Karyn. I'm not going to be the one taking the knees.
That's right. Okay.
But yeah, I would love it. I feel like it would just be such a striker's paradise. Who knows how to use their knees effectively if they allowed that. But maybe it would be too brutal. I don't know. Like when I watch Ryzen and
right, that's what I was going to ask. Do you want Pride rules?
Like when I see Pride rules, the fighters protect themselves, they don't put themselves in these positions where they're likely to get kneed in the face. It's just like when we're boxing, we don't just like put our hands down because because we know that punches are legal. So you can punch it like in Taekwondo, punches to the head aren't legal. So they box like this,
right.
So I think if the rule wasn't there, then people would protect themselves accordingly, and you wouldn't see that many knees to the face. You'd probably see less. You'd probably see less than you do now when they're illegal. So yeah, I say make it legal. I think it would be an easy way to fix that situation. But they're not, and I think because I don't know, it might look too brutal sometimes and turn people off, like the mass amount of viewers. So maybe it's more of a money decision and not, or more of a, like, I don't know, like a moral decision, and not really like we want to be like Pride.
I mean, they're dangerous.
They are dangerous. And I always think about that knee that MVP landed on Cyborg, on Mel Cyborg.
Right, his head cracked open.
Yeah, I'm like, imagine if that was just a regular knee to a grounded opponent. Like, it would have gone through his head. It was like the x-rays were so nasty.
So bad.
So, yeah, knees are dangerous, and I guess I could see either side. But I think they should allow certain, like, from 135 down. Yeah,
I was just going to say, right, because honestly, and no, but I mean, you're kidding, but at the same time, you're right. Like, does anybody want to see Francis Ngannou? We saw what he did with his hand.
Oh, my God.
Do you know what I mean? Like, we saw Alistair's head almost come off.
Octagon. Yeah, somebody's eyeball might pop out.
Yeah, we don't want to see it. All right, Ange, I want to get to some questions. We're at the 49-minute mark, and I know a lot of people were sending you questions on Twitter, and I know we did get to some of them because they were about the illegal knees and whether or not you think they should be allowed or not. Somebody was asking about, well, a lot of people think that you should be on a 3-fight win streak. So, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Congratulations to you on that one.
Cool.
Well, people are talking about the eye pokes. So this person is saying just Jace 003-6 is asking, what are your thoughts on eye pokes? Everyone knows the rules, yet it still happens. Should the offender be DQ'd? Or do you think it's like deliberate when they're doing it, since they know that the eye pokes could be in there? So what do you think should happen in an eye poke situation?
It's hard to say, because a lot of us, when we train in big gloves, we don't have that. We're not worried about what our hands are doing, what our fingers doing in the glove. So if you do something like post, a lot of times, like, because you're doing it in a big glove, you're not really practicing every day posting without poking your partner in the eye. You're just pushing the entire glove into their face, and like, I feel like that's a big reason why you see eye pokes, because the first time I put on little gloves to start training striking for MMA, that was the first thing I noticed. I was like, oh, did I get you? Sorry. You know, like, it happened a lot when I first started training, because when you train in big gloves, like, you leave your hand out like that. You can advance like that. You can, like, push them away in their face like that. And as soon as your fingers are out, like, that becomes really dangerous for their eyeballs. So yeah, it's a hard thing. I don't think it's ever intentional, really. Like, maybe John Jones.
Wow, she went there. Well, no, but you said you're echoing exactly.
But he's just like, it's a warning, right? It's like, don't come too close. Don't come too close. You know what? But I don't think it's intentional whenever somebody gets poked in the eye, because, like, everyone has eyes. No one wants that shit. Like, it hurts so bad, and it can totally change, like, the momentum of a fight, and they're easy to get damaged. Like, even the one punch I ate from Ashley, like, it scratched my, like, right next to my retina. It was just like a little small scratch, but, like, it's so easy to get damaged, you know? So yeah, it's a tough one. Like, I know, like, the glove design is one area where they could, like, focus on, like,
curving it a little, right? Yeah, because Michael was talking about that on the air. Bisping was.
Yeah, and I think Bellator has gloves that do that, and the old Pride gloves did that, where they just, like, they don't. This is like a relaxed position, but a little bit of curving on the glove, it brings your fingers from here to here without you having to be conscious about it. So it keeps, like, when the eyeball comes near to the finger, it goes like that instead of like that, you know? So, so I think that's a really good idea. Hopefully they implement that, because, man, nobody wants to get poked in the eye. I've been poked in the eye a few times in a fight, and it like, you can't see out of that eye. You'll have, like, double vision or something, or it just hurts. You know, it hurts like somebody has a little piece of glass in there. So it's just, like, a really horrible feeling, and everyone values their vision after getting poked in the eye in a fight. You know, you're like, fuck. I hope that doesn't happen too bad, you know?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You know, think about how much, you know, for people who are watching this or listening to this, think about how hard you freak out if you have an eyelash in your eye. Like, and now think of somebody's freaking finger 2 knuckles deep in there.
Yeah. It's like, half the time your eye gets messed up, it's not even an eye poke. It's just their knuckle.
Yeah.
It's just the glove leather mashing your eyeball in. You know, so
it's bad. But like you said, we were talking about that in the set, is that a lot of the time when you guys are sparring, you're sparring in boxing gloves, which don't even have the fingers. And so that is it. And I know Bisping was talking about the gloves, that were curved more, and maybe they start out curved, and you're the one who has to make it so that you had to make the effort to make your fingers straight. I don't know if that's a debate we're going to answer right now. But yes, like you said, nobody intentionally throws those eye pokes. Nobody wants to be that person.
They don't want to have a eyeball on their finger. Little eyeball.
So bad. Oh, okay. And so Sharon Lee is asking, how do you feel about doing all the interviews after fights and or during fight week? In my opinion, you know, like, they need some, like, better questions for you guys and stuff like that. But, like, how much do you know, I mean, it's obviously part of the drill, but how much is that a drag to you, like, when you're doing media stuff, when you're like, I'd really rather either just be cooling out or training or cutting weight?
I don't know. I find it kind of therapeutic. Because they'll ask you questions that you know they're gonna ask you,
Yeah.
and a lot of times when I'm about to fight, like that week, I'll be like thinking of the questions, like in the shower. I'm like,
how to answer it, right?
What I'm doing, but I'll be like in the shower, like thinking of how I would answer like certain questions I know I'm gonna get, and it's therapeutic because you're addressing things that have happened in your career and your journey, and you're almost centering yourself and understanding like what you think about everything that's about to happen, that's going to happen, the possibilities in the future. I think it's a good therapy for me, but I know it can be annoying, especially when you get asked the same question over and over again. You have to figure out ways to entertain yourself by answering a little different each time. Yeah, it can get annoying, but I really do enjoy that whole process, and it's hard to remember the last time I was upset about doing interviews. Like,
Good.
I always feel thankful that people want to hear what I have to say.
Well, and I was gonna say, for on my side of the camera here, in their defense, a lot of time people have specific stories they have to file. And we know that, Angie, you've answered this question a million times, but guess what? My producer told me I need the stupid soundbite. Like, so I do think sometimes fighters need to cut the media people some slack. And I know that's something the Cub Swanson was like, hey, media should have 3 fights. And then media people are like, and fighters should write 3 articles. Because we know that would be a challenge for some people, but I
could do it.
But I love Cub, and I think he brought up a really good point, and it brought up a lot of dialogue. But yes, just so folks know, a lot of time the quote unquote stupid questions are because we need a very specific soundbite that we're trying to fill in a story, and sometimes we just have to do it, and we apologize in advance. And believe me, we're rolling our eyes when we ask it. Because a lot of them were like, I know you answered this 97 times already today, and I'm sorry.
Wait. But I recall you being kind of into the idea of media people having...
Oh, I would fight it. Oh, if we're talking... I'm down.
Karyn was down to scrap. I'm like, okay, Karyn, let's go. Yeah.
Have you seen these, Angie? Have you seen these?
Those are pointy looking.
They are pointy AF. Oh, no.
Yeah, you slice someone open with that.
I've said it for years that if we ever get like one of those Anchorman jokes where like the crews go up and roll up on another team, that we're trashing somebody. Because obviously the people that I roll with are way better. All right. Okay. So let's see. Okay. There's one last question here. We'll get to this one from Justin Lelbach asking, what's the most awkward a fan has ever made you feel?
I saw this question, and I think I have a couple, but
we're at the 57-minute mark, Angie. We got to nail it. Yeah.
All right. I posted a video of my friend who trains with me. He has like this jacked up pinky toe, and it looks like the pinky toe is like detaching and reattaching. And I posted a video of his toe like dancing to music. And it looked real funky. So after one of my Invicta fights, a guy comes up to me and he was like, "Hey, Angela, congratulations." I was like, "Thank you." And he was like, "Yeah, I was hoping I could see that funky ass toe of yours." And I was like, "Excuse me?" And like Adam was standing right next to me, and he's like, "The fuck did he just say?" And he's like, "Oh, he got real like shy all of a sudden. He's like, "Oh no, your Instagram video." And I'm like, "Oh, that was my friend's toe." Oh, it's cool. It's good. We're cool. We're good. But it was really cute because he was drunk. His daughter was like, "I'm sorry."
Yeah. But and your husband's all like, "I'm sorry, what did you say?"
Yeah, he suddenly realized he might have offended me, and he was like, "No, I was joking. Your video with your foot. So I thought that was really funny. But like at first I was like, "The fuck." Why are you talking about my feet?
Yeah, you don't talk about me. I haven't had anything overly uncomfortable. It's just that, a lot of time I don't look at the general messages on Instagram, if you feel me.
Yes.
And the other day I did look at a couple and I was like, "Oh, Jesus."
Oh,
and and so
throw it away.
That's the most uncomfortable I've felt, is looking at unsolicited messages. And I'm like, there's a reason you don't do this. And there's a reason I have like a ridiculous amount of requests on Instagram, because I don't look at them.
Yeah.
And the other day I looked and I was like, this is why I don't look at them. Please don't do this to me.
Them to Adam.
Why are you doing this?
I like showing them to Adam. That's my favorite hobby. I'm like, hey, look at this message I got.
It's so disgusting. It's so disgusting.
Oh, it's so funny to me. I'm like, why would you do that? I don't think it's theirs half the time, though. I feel like that would be too embarrassing.
Well, but if their face is in the video too, like, I got somewhere, I'm just like, what?
In that case, it's the other half of the time.
It's so horrifying. Like, it's horrifying. Like, horrifying. Yeah. Horrifying. So that's why I don't look at those messages. Scary movie. I literally looked at like 2 the other day. Like, I'm never looking here again, ever again.
Yeah. Go dick pic.
Never.
Dick pic.
Yes. All right, folks. So listen, this was our Victory Lab episode here. If you missed Angie's fight, you should go back and see it. It was on ESPN Plus. It was the featured prelim against Ashley Yoder. You're now 2-0 against Ashley, and hopefully we'll see you in action again soon because you did look so great. But in the meantime, where can folks find you if they want to follow you on social media?
Twitter and Instagram at Angie Overkill.
All right. And for me on Instagram, I'm KB Heat. Karyn Bryant across the board everywhere else. If you're looking for what had happened was, it is on Angela's IGTV. It is on my Karyn Bryant YouTube channel. We also put it up on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. So folks can check it out there. And yeah, we're going to keep rolling. And eventually, Angie, we're going to get it on television.
Yes, we will. Willing it.
That's right. Well, thank you so much for listening, folks. And yeah, we'll catch you next week.
See ya.